Outgoing FBI Director Christopher Wray sat down for an interview with 60 Minutes on Sunday night in his first public conversation since announcing his resignation last month.
Wray's resignation came after President-elect Donald Trump announced he would nominate loyalist and former federal prosecutor Kash Patel for the job. Remember, Patel has said he would shut down the FBI building on day one and reopen it as a museum of the deep state.
Wray told 60 Minutes what he believes is the biggest threat facing the incoming Trump administration.
Well, the greatest long-term threat facing our country, in my view, is represented by the People's Republic of China, the Chinese government, which I consider to be the defining threat of our generation. China's cyber program is by far and away the world's largest, bigger than that of every major nation combined. Chinese government's pre-positioning on American civilian critical infrastructure to lie in wait on those networks, to be in a position to wreak havoc.
Let's remember, Wray was named to the FBI by President-elect Trump in his last term, in 2017. Trump soured on him because of his nonpartisan handling of January 6th. Wray took a jab at Trump, saying facts are important.
Our job as investigators at the FBI is to follow the facts wherever they lead, no matter who likes it. And I add that last part because one of the things that I've seen over my 7.5 years as FBI director is that people often claim to be very interested in independence and objectivity until independence and objectivity lead to an outcome they don't like.
And he defended the FBI.
I do take very seriously attacks against our people in the FBI. And I will tell you that the FBI that I see every single day is 38,000 career law enforcement professionals. Not one of them is a political appointee, not one of them. And they tackle the job with a level of rigor and tenacity and professionalism and objectivity that I think is unparalleled.
Conservative commentator Kash Lauren reacted to the interview on X, writing, "Disgraced FBI Director Chris Wray waited until a week before he was forced into retirement to drop this bombshell on China. Where was the FBI then in the last 4 years, and why are we only hearing about it now?" Writer Matt Fleming posted, "Chris Wray is a traitor. In fact, no one did more to, 1, allow the attack on the Capitol to happen, than 2, cover it up." So this is not a popular figure with the MAGA base, certainly someone who has presided over an FBI that is increasingly disliked by conservatives for some reasons that I think are legitimate. The weaponization of law enforcement, the failures by intelligence agencies in recent years to actually be neutral and to engage in politics, like the Hunter Biden laptop story being described by many former intelligence security experts as of Russian origin. We now know it was not of Russian origin. The FBI, actually, unlike other intelligence agencies, I appreciate, puts more stock in the lab leak theory of COVID's origins than other intelligence gathering agencies. But one of the things that Kash Patel has said that he wants to do when he comes in, and this I agree with, is look at, is there duplicative work being done? Why is the FBI doing sort of national security, international threat monitoring that is properly the purview of state or DNI or something? And is that being turned on the American people to do surveillance of them? So that's the kind of thing that I know people on the right want to see the reforms happen under Kash Patel.
You know, Robby, I think what happens when people actually go into these positions and serve, they realize how hard they are. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to be on the outside looking in and to have opinions about what you think the processes are and who you think the quote-unquote deep state in their parlance is. But then when you're there, I mean, you heard Christopher Wray say it, 38,000 hardworking civil servants, round the clock trying to keep us safe. I think it changes who you are and how you think about things. That's one thing. The second thing, though, is that while I think it is absolutely legitimate for any incoming political leadership to take a look at what's happening, try to make things better, the truth is once you actually are there, it's very difficult to change things in any significant way. So we'll see how far he gets on those fronts.
Well, hearings for Trump's cabinet picks are kicking off this week. Some, like Marco Rubio, who's been tapped for Secretary of State, are expected to see smooth confirmations.
You may want to bring popcorn for some others. Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, for example, will face harsh questioning on Tuesday. A hearing for John Ratcliffe, who was picked to lead the CIA, has yet to be announced.
I predict all of the nominees will be confirmed. I think the one who is maybe not going to get confirmed, Matt Gaetz, who bowed out of the race for Attorney General, I think the rest of them are going to be confirmed. Pete Hegseth was having a little bit of difficulty, not actually based on, it sounds like, anything he believes in terms of the role he would serve as in Defense Secretary, but because of some past personal behavior. It sounds like he has sufficiently addressed those issues with several Republicans, including the ones who are most likely to oppose him. And I have no doubt Democrats are going to vote universally against him and maybe some of these other nominees. They're not going to vote universally against Marco Rubio, even though that's the one I like the least because I don't agree with him ideologically and I care more about person's views than their sordid personal dating history or whatever is the case in Pete Hegseth. But I'm interested to see the candidates answer questions about what kind of policies they're going to implement and if they're actually going to deliver on some of the promises they've made to the conservative base in terms of ramping down surveillance and bureaucracy. And like you said, it is difficult because you get in there and you have a million different priorities and these giant, massive bureaucratic apparatus that your Republicans are always promising to get in there and cut waste, fraud, and abuse and eliminate unnecessary positions and bring down the federal workforce and close down departments and agencies. All of that, music to my ears, never seems to quite happen, but maybe this time will be different.
Well, that's the joke, right? Show me the line item in any budget document that
Right.
is waste, fraud, and abuse.
Right.
It's much more difficult to unravel than one would expect. But I think you're right, Robby. I think that the vast majority, if not all of these nominees will be confirmed. I think we're looking at 13 this week.
Yeah.
And that's not a commentary, though, in my opinion, on their viability in terms of their expertise, et cetera. It's that it is highly unusual. Nominees don't want to be voted down. They would remove themselves from the process beforehand. All that said, I do think it's going to be very interesting. Nomination hearings are always an opportunity for the opposition to do a little bit of a dog and pony show and try to ask tough questions for the record that maybe can resurface later.
It was interesting. I saw the Washington Post put together a chart of all the Trump appointees that need Senate confirmation, where they gave a thumbs up and thumbs down. And they actually said yes to most of them with a rationale being like, look, we would not actually pick any of these people, but here are the ones we think, given a Republican administration, are qualified. And the only ones they said no to were the ones I liked the best, Kash Patel and Tulsi, and I think RFK Jr., and I'm like, those are the ones mainstream media, progressive-leaning Democratic operatives don't want. Maybe that speaks for itself.
I think it's very clear that the Republican members of the Senate are very loyal to Donald Trump, and you might see one opposition vote, but you would not see more than one.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll see what happens this week in some of these confirmation hearings. Should be some interesting content. More Rising right after this.